I go and see how the earth is listening to us. And with that, I can realize that the earth has answered every wish, every desire, every thought in the future or in the past that she has and will always listen to us, but only if we can understand that language that she's given everything. The other folks who I say are still speaking the earth languages have never been disconnected, that they understand that it's a relationship and that the earth does not lie, therefore your language should not lie. We are the earth. We become the earth. We were the earth. We are the earth. We will be the earth.
Welcome to our new timeless edition. We know that our epics are vast and deep, and that we are in this time of the age of information and attention. Each podcast episode is filled with so much wisdom and new ways of seeing, and in this culture, there is a propensity to make more and more and more. We want to contribute to a culture of meaning, care, and presence, and we know that wisdom is timeless. And so in these short episodes, we share a piece of timeless wisdom. Next week, we will be back with a new full-length, deep conversation. As always, if you find what we offer here at All That We Are supportive, please dive deeper with us. You can find out on our website how to join Beautiful Leadership Mentoring, Reclaim Your Intuition, and Presence Collective. We have a new cohort of Reclaim Your Intuition starting in early November and will complete by the winter solstice. This is my interactive learning journey, which opens the doors for you to deepen your relationship with your intuition and the unseen world. One of the rituals that I share in this is tree whispering, which connects so deeply to what is shared in this episode. I have been really moved by a few of the people who did this over the summer, saying that although they hadn't done a special tree whispering ritual before, that it felt so natural, like an ancient language they knew in their bones and from their childhood. I am excited to connect with some of you through this, where we will meet every week as well as have a one-to-one, all in service of opening up that language of energetic connection and coming into deeper presence with the more than human world. This week's Timeless is from our archives, which is over 7 years deep, part of a beautiful and powerful conversation we had in episode 107 with Tiokasin Ghosthorse on Earth languages, consciousness, and Indigenous Intelligence, entitled Walking Earth with the Gifts of the Stars. We hope that hearing just this small part will give you space to contemplate, integrate, and embody what you hear. Tiokasin Ghosthorse is a member of the Cheyenne River Lakota Nation of South Dakota, an international speaker on peace, Indigenous, and Mother Earth perspective, a survival of the Reign of Terror from 1972 to 1976 on the Pine Ridge, Cheyenne River, and Rosebud Lakota reservations in South Dakota, and the U.S. Bureau of Indian Affairs boarding and church missionary school systems designed to kill the Indian and save the man. Tiokasin has a long history of Indigenous activism and advocacy. Tiokasin is the founder, host, and executive producer of the 24-year-old First Voices Radio, which was formerly the First Voices Indigenous Radio, an hour-live program that is syndicated to 70 radio stations in the US and Canada. A master musician and a teacher of magical ancient and modern sounds, Tiokasin performs worldwide. He describes himself as a perfectly flawed human being who is a sun dancer in the tradition of the Lakota Nation. This Timeless explores the question, which feels very pertinent right in this moment. How can learning to listen to Earth lead us to true inner and outer peace? I hope that these words awaken something deep in your bones and soul and connect you to the roots of all life. Welcome to All That We Are, with me, your host, Amisha Tala Oak. On this show, we explore the weave between activism, the sacred, creativity, and regeneration, the spaces where our inner and outer worlds dance. From healing trauma to nature connection, to new technologies, to ancient wisdom, it's time for us to move beyond silos and into an integrated way of being. Every one of us has ideas and personal experiences to share that can lead us to a more beautiful future. Despite the challenges we face as a global community or the pressures we meet in our daily lives, when we stop and dare to listen, to ask ourselves the big questions, and to share what we are already doing and envisioning, we create the futures of our wildest dreams, and we begin to embody all that we are becoming, and all that is possible.
When it comes to the ideas and the knowledge and the wisdom of listening, there is a word roughly translated anamagoptaye, which means to listen, but we're also talking about that in this way to complete this thought that the earth is listening to us first. And if we do not understand how the earth listens to us, then we will have difficulty listening to the earth. In the other way, it's just a one-way street where we go and listen to the earth. And we have no training, we have no experience of seeing how the earth listens to us. And so we're only using half of that gift that we were born with that language of quiet and silence and observation, and just the intuitive value that we're born with without ever speaking a language, any language. And so when I think about the listening aspect, I go and see how the earth is listening to us. And with that, I can realize that the earth has answered every wish, every desire, every thought in the future or in the past that she has and will always listen to us, but only if we can understand that language that she's given everything. So part of the results, if that's what it is in the cause and effect world, is if we are able to listen and put our ego aside and this idea that we are lacking of language, then we understand what the fulfillment of listening is all about. And I think that would be a good start to understand what that aspect of anamagoptaye means. And I can go even further with that because it is a very relative term, very relative idea. We cannot disconnect what we are born with, but we will recognize that soon because I think it's that time of human evolution, if you will, to recognize a continuum rather than evolution like it's going to have an end. It's a continuum, a spiral. So the listening has always been there. We are now in a place that we can recognize how the earth is listening to us first.
Yeah, it's powerful. With the earth hears everything, our thoughts, as well as our words and our actions.
The earth listens to us. She's internal. We say, look at the computer, has internal speakers, has internal microphone. That's sort of a facsimile of the earth itself. The elemental intelligence is the elemental consciousness of the earth, the water, the fire, the air, the plants, the animals, the birds, the fish. All these elemental geniuses, I would say, it has accepted us and gave us this form. And they've collaborated to give us this form as humans, imbued us with all of that consciousness and intelligence that comes from the creation story. So we live their creation story. We are living that creation story every moment because every moment is innocent. These consciousness, these intelligences that talk about elemental consciousness and intelligence do not have guilt. You do not have that irresponsible feeling that we often are emotional to the anger, the guilt, the hatred, and because those can be manipulated. So the innocence that these elements have are actually our creation story, our innocence, that every moment you live is innocent. And there is no guilt in the sense that every moment has never been repeated in your history, in my history, in the history of Earth. So that's the medicine of listening. And because we always will remain the same age, no matter what we are within that energy world, within that spiritual world, that we always have the capability of being able to understand or learn rather than accumulate knowledge, but to recognize where we are at in that continuum. It always has to do with understanding, appreciation, and the intelligence of, yes, listening, but seeing and experience the innocence in everything. And that's what I would think goes with how to listen and how to understand the gifts that are there and how to understand that there really is no such thing as lacking of, that everything is given, but we haven't learned how to appreciate. And once you will appreciate that, then the intelligence of learning how to appreciate comes pouring in, and you're just so thankful at all the times that thankfulness becomes a consciousness, not a conscience. You give a reward, you're saying thank you for sharing, you're using all the possessive words rather than what the earth is doing, just constantly being generous, just giving, because she doesn't lack. When I talk about a future and a past, I am talking about this, is Akantu. And Akantu essentially means the being from the ancient future now. It's an old Lakota word that spans 100,000 years, 200,000 years, so much so that when we put aside religion, we put aside the government, that we put aside the science, that we are all part of a relationship and that the center of the universe is everywhere, rather than just with some dogma or scripture or a belief system, is that all of that came true within the consciousness. So much so that it erased all the conscience to do the wrong or the right thing. Because that wrong and right thing, oh yeah, it's about the human rights. It's about us receiving justice from the same system that put us into injustice. But when you go back long enough, and far back long enough, you're understanding that when the Western democracy was formed, there was this goddess in the Greek mythology that in translation, her name was Justice. And when they created, all men were created equal, as they declared the men, the owners who had property could say that we create all men equal. But then they made women property, something lower. Then they made the indigenous folks who didn't kowtow to property and being owned and ownership. And then they saw that those lower class peoples were the closest to the earth, and they still retain the consciousness of the earth. And so they said, we have to take justice, who lived in the earth, who vibrated the earthquakes, who saw things grow, who balanced the water, who balanced the fire within the earth. And she balanced all of that. And then they said that we have to take justice from the earth and put her into man-made laws and make her a mental concept. And so today's environmental class, race, and whatever, they're all looking for equality within the mental concept because they forgot how to feel. And so they're always looking for connection. Where the other folks who I say are still speaking the earth languages have never been disconnected, that they understand that it's a relationship and that the earth does not lie, therefore your language should not lie. It doesn't lie and has to be direct as possible, and that you cannot force other people to learn your language to be part of the pie, the piece of the human pie. It's rather that the languages are already spoken because we understand that the earth is listening to us. And that's how the earth teaches us how to listen to earth, to listen to all things, even other human beings, with the heart. The seed, which is a head, which is a brain, is merely a seed of the heart, which is nasula. And so all our thoughts in Lakota emanate from the heart and give information to the brain. Whereas the other Western theologies have cut the part off and come up here with concepts. So the languages that we are speaking in the origination of all of us are all verb languages, languages of action, the languages that have been dominated in the recent 1,000 years, 2,000, 5,000 years now have been because we got to name things and subjugate and objectify, thingify everything. And that meant control. And that control was through fear. And so you have young people saying that they have the answer when they haven't lived a practical mystery, because everything is theology within the concept. So when you have a verb language, an action language, everything is in motion. There is no need for an alphabet. There is no need for concepts. There is only an understanding and a recognition of life in motion. And so your language is always describing things and all things in motion. And because if you take the innocence moment, everything is that motion of innocence. You'll never experience this again. Just that went away, boom. That was innocence. But it's what we do with that, acknowledge that innocence within us, that gives us context of the balance of Earth. What Earth is calling for is the balance of that innocence that we are missing. No matter how much we've been trying to destroy that consciousness with conscience, man-made conscience, that we're doing the right or the wrong thing. So in the world of innocence that has been given us through that elemental consciousness to live within us, we must remember ourselves at innocence and not have to deal with guilt, because that gets in the way. And what comes out of guilt is hatred and racial tension and war and animosity and all those things that divide. Because after all, as I said in the beginning, this is all about Lakota. This is all about peace. We must come to know the power that is peace once again, and that's peace with Earth, because we cannot have peace on Earth anymore. We are the Earth. We become the Earth. We were the Earth. We are the Earth. We will be the Earth.
Thank you for listening. We hope that you have enjoyed this episode and it has sparked some inspiration and creativity in you. This is one of our timeless editions, a short and powerful piece of wisdom for you to contemplate, integrate, and embody. We have an archive of over 200 epics, long, deep conversations for you to explore, share, and enjoy. We keep this podcast advertising free, as we don't want to sell you things that you don't need. This is made possible by you supporting our work as a member of Presence Collective, a patron, or through joining our offerings. You can also support us by sharing this with those that you love. Can you send it to 10 people who you know will find it powerful? This podcast is made by an all-female global team. You can explore our world at allthatweare.org and find your ways to take part. All That We Are celebrates all that we are already and the untapped potential that lives inside us. We exist to offer a space of sanctuary in the ever-increasing chaos, a place where you can come and be in good company, a place where you can learn, unlearn, and connect to your own wisdom. And know that in each and every moment, all that we are is here.